You are not failing. You are not lazy. You are not incapable. The real reason you are not succeeding the way you know you should is because too much of your energy is being poured into people, places, and situations that quietly drain you dry. You wake up each day already tired, not because you lack discipline, but because your life force is constantly leaking. You are trying to build a future while your present is filled with emotional debts you never agreed to. And before you turn that frustration inward and start blaming yourself, I need you to hear this clearly. Most people were never taught how to protect their energy because a person who knows how to focus on themselves is harder to control. From an early age, many of us were conditioned to believe that prioritizing ourselves is selfish. We were praised for overgiving, rewarded for self-sacrifice, and subtly shamed whenever we chose ourselves first. If you said no, you were difficult. If you pulled back, you were distant. If you focused on your goals, your healing, your peace, suddenly you were accused of changing. That conditioning runs deep, and it explains why so many good-hearted people feel guilty the moment they stop pouring from an empty cup. You were trained to believe your value comes from how much you give away, not how well you sustain yourself. What they never taught you is that energy is a resource. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. When you constantly give your time, emotional labor, focus, and creativity to things that do not replenish you, your growth slows down, your vision becomes cloudy. Your motivation fades, your confidence weakens. You start questioning yourself, not realizing that you are trying to bloom in soil that has already been stripped of nutrients. It is impossible to thrive when your life is built around survival instead of nourishment. Here is the truth that changes everything. You are far more useful to others when you are full. When you pour your energy back into yourself, you do not become less generous, you become more powerful. Energy multiplies when it is invested wisely. When you strengthen yourself, your overflow naturally benefits the people around you. A grounded person gives better advice. A healed person creates safer spaces. A fulfilled person inspires without trying. But an exhausted person can only offer resentment disguised as kindness. At this point in the message, if this is resonating with you, I want you to pause and affirm this truth publicly. Comment, "I pour back into myself" in the comments. That statement is not just words, it is a boundary. It is a declaration that your energy matters and that you are done abandoning yourself to keep the peace. And while you are here, make sure you turn on your notifications like this message, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel so you continue receiving reminders like this when life tries to pull you back into old patterns. When you start pouring back into yourself, resistance will show up. People who benefited from your exhaustion will feel uncomfortable with your growth. They may not say it directly, but you will sense it in their tone, their expectations, and their subtle guilt trips. Do not take that as a sign you are doing something wrong. Take it as confirmation that something is changing. When you stop leaking energy, people who were feeding off that access will have to find their own source. That is not your responsibility. Pouring into yourself does not mean abandoning others. It means choosing alignment over obligation. It means recognizing that not every request deserves a yes. Not every problem is yours to fix, and not every environment is healthy for your nervous system. You can love people and still choose distance. You can care deeply and still protect your peace. Growth often looks like silence, rest, and selective engagement long before it looks like visible success. Think about how much energy you spend replaying conversations, worrying about how others perceive you, or staying connected to situations that drain you because you fear being misunderstood. That mental loop alone steals more energy than most people realize. When you redirect that energy toward your goals, your healing, your skills, and your inner stability, things begin to shift quickly. Clarity replaces confusion, momentum replaces stagnation, confidence replaces self-doubt. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you finally stop fighting yourself. This is why self-focus was framed as selfish in the first place. A person who knows their worth does not accept crumbs. A person who honors their energy does not tolerate chaos. A person who pours into themselves becomes less reactive, less manipulable, and less dependent on external validation. That kind of person is dangerous to systems that thrive on distraction and depletion. So instead of asking why success feels so far away, ask where your energy is being spent and whether it is earning a return. Midway through this journey, support matters. If this channel has been helping you refocus, heal, and reclaim your power, I invite you to contribute to its growth. There is a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, and any amount you give genuinely helps keep this space alive. Thank you in advance for your support, your presence, and your belief in this message. Energy given with intention always comes back multiplied. As you begin pouring back into yourself, you will notice something important. You will start attracting opportunities instead of chasing them. People will respond differently to you, not because you changed who you are, but because you changed how you show up. There is a quiet authority that comes from self-respect. There is a calm confidence that emerges when your energy is no longer scattered. Success is not always about doing more. Often it is about leaking less. Let go of the idea that you must earn rest, peace, or focus. Those are not rewards, they are foundations. When you protect your energy, you create space for creativity, strategy, and inspired action. You move differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. And slowly, the life you want stops feeling like a distant dream and starts feeling like something you are actively building. So if you have been feeling stuck, drained, or discouraged, do not shame yourself. You were conditioned to give before you were taught to receive. But now you know better. You're allowed to redirect your energy. You are allowed to choose yourself without explaining it. You're allowed to build a life that does not require constant self-sacrifice to maintain. Remember this. When you pour back into yourself, you do not shrink the world, you expand it. Your growth creates ripples. Your healing becomes permission for others to heal. Your success becomes proof that alignment works. And it all begins the moment you decide that your energy is sacred and no longer available to be wasted. If this message spoke to you, comment, "I pour back into myself." Turn on your notifications, like, share, and subscribe. Your next level does not require more effort. It requires better energy management. And now you are finally ready for that shift.